Hey everyone, welcome back. Look, if you're watching this right now, you need to understand, music, something crucial. What happened tonight in the UAE wasn't just another tennis match. Sure, it was a WTA 1000 event. Yeah, it was a first-round qualifier, but what we actually witnessed was nothing short of a cultural earthquake. And no, that headline, music, you clicked on, that wasn't clickbait. I'm dead serious. Dubai, music, the city that's all about luxury, skyscrapers, and playing host to the world's elite, just got absolutely rocked. But here's the thing, it's the good kind, music of shock. The kind that makes an entire sport sit up and pay attention. We're talking about the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, one of the crown jewels of the women's tour. Normally, the early rounds at these tournaments are pretty tame affairs. You've got your corporate boxes, your VIP sections, some dedicated tennis fans scattered around, maybe some polite applause here and there. It's civilized. Music, it's quiet, it's tennis. But tonight, they threw that rulebook straight out the window. The stadium didn't sound like a tennis venue. Music, it sounded like a rock concert, like a World Cup final. And it was all because of one name, a 20-year-old phenom who's turning Dubai's hard courts into her personal kingdom. Alexandra Eala. The reports coming out of the venue are absolutely wild. Veteran tennis journalists, tournament officials, even rival players watching from the stands, they are all saying the same thing. Thousands of fans packed into this place. And they weren't just tennis enthusiasts. Music, they were her people. The Filipino community in the UAE, this massive, passionate, all-organized force, mobilized in a way we rarely see in individual sports. Music, they turned what should have been an away match into a home game. They brought Sunday final energy to a Tuesday night qualifier. This is the EA era, folks. Music, and it's not coming. It's already here. We've been whispering about it for the past, 2 years, tracking her journey through the Rafa Nadal Academy, watching her breakthrough performances in 2025, analyzing the rankings. But tonight, music, the whispers stopped and the roar began. When Alexandra Eala walked onto that court to face Hailey Baptiste, the decibel levels reportedly hit numbers usually reserved for Federer or Nadal in their prime. Flags everywhere. The Filipino sun and 3 stars waving from every corner of the stadium, painted on faces, music draped over railings. The chants were rhythmic, relentless, deafening. And here's the critical context we need to establish right off the bat. This matters because tennis has been struggling to find its next music it factor in the post-Serena era. Don't get me wrong, our current champions are phenomenal. Iga Swiatek is an absolute machine. Music, Aryna Sabalenka is a powerhouse, but who has that cultural pull? Who makes someone who's never watched tennis buy a ticket and wait in line for 3 hours? Tonight, Alexandra Eala answered that question. Music, she proved she's not just a promising talent. She's a phenomenon. All right, music, here's the breaking news. Advanced. She's through to the round of 32 in Music, Dubai. But the way it happened was dramatic, messy, and ultimately a testament to the intense pressure she's playing under. She took, music, the first set against American Hailey Baptiste 6-4. It was a grind. Oh, a genuine battle. Eala had to dig herself out of an early deficit, break Baptiste's rhythm, work those angles with that lethal lefty forehand, and feed off the crowd's wild energy. Then came the drama in the second set. Baptiste, dealing with an abdominal injury, had to retire while down 0-1. So yeah, the music match itself ended anticlimactically. But what happened next? Music, anything but anticlimactic. Usually when there's a retirement, the atmosphere deflates. Music, the crowd disperses. People head for the exits. Not tonight. When the umpire announced game, set match Eala, the stadium absolutely erupted like, music, she'd just won Wimbledon. Think about that for a second. We're talking about second-round qualifying and the crowd reaction rivals a Grand Slam final. Music, that's the kind of support we're dealing with here. Tournament organizers are scrambling. Music, they are realizing they need extra security every time Eala plays. They need bigger venues. They need to prepare for capacity crowds. This is what we call the rockstar effect. Music, and in sports, we throw that term around pretty loosely. Everyone with a bit of charisma gets called a rock star. But look at the footage. Music, and I wish I could show you, but trust me on this. Fans are literally reaching over barriers just to catch a glimpse of her towel. They are screaming her name during changeovers. Security looks genuinely overwhelmed trying to manage the wave of humanity pressing in for an autograph. That's not just popularity. That's Beatles at Shea Stadium level pandemonium. The establishment is feeling it too. Jasmine Paolini, the world number 8 who Eala faces next, has already gone on record calling Eala huge for tennis. But she admitted that for a player ranked 40th in the world, the music atmosphere is unlike anything she's encountered before. Even the tournament director, Salah Talak, music, has acknowledged the Filipino force publicly. He understands that the nearly 1 million Filipinos in the UAE, including 3,000 employees at Dubai duty-free alone, music, aren't just demographic statistics. They are an army that buys tickets, wears merchandise, and creates an atmosphere unlike anything else. So why is everyone in Dubai shocked? Because they underestimated the hunger. They didn't see the pride of a nation desperate for a global tennis icon. We saw it with Manny Pacquiao in boxing. Music, when he fought, the world stopped. In tennis, we're seeing the first sparks of that same fire. It's frenzy. It's chaos. It's beautiful. Over the next several music minutes, we're going to break this night down in detail. We're not just talking forehands and backhands here. We're diving into the psychology behind this fandom, examining the financial implications for the WTA, and looking at the road ahead. Because Alex faces a top 10 player next round. And if you thought, music, tonight's crowd was loud, wait until you hear what they've got planned for Jasmine Paolini. Buckle up. The Eala era isn't coming. It's here. It's loud. A music, it's proud. And it's taking over the Middle East one match at a time. The tennis world has been put on notice. This girl is too big to ignore. And the music, thousands of screaming fans behind her, impossible to ignore. Let's dive in. Understanding the infrastructure, music, of this phenomenon. To truly grasp what happened in Dubai, we need to examine the structure behind this craze. And it's easy to say lots of people showed up, but that doesn't capture the actual vibe of what went down. We need to look at who these people are and why this particular tournament became ground zero for the Eala explosion. Dubai's ecosystem is unique. It's a crossroads of the world, right? But in many ways, the beating heart of this city is the Filipino expat music community. For decades, they've been the backbone of the service industry, healthcare, engineering, music, pretty much every sector in the Emirates. But in the world of sports, they've largely been spectators. They'd tune into NBA games, watch boxing matches, sure. But tennis felt like an elite European luxury, a music gentleman's sport disconnected from the daily reality of the Filipino worker abroad. Music, Alexandra Eala changed that equation entirely. But she's put a human face on a sport that felt, music, distant. When those fans walked into the Dubai duty-free tennis stadium tonight, music, they weren't just coming to watch a sport. They were coming to see representation. They were coming to see their own story reflected on a global stage. A young woman working abroad, fighting to establish herself, overcoming obstacles. That narrative has powerful resonance. It creates a bond that transcends simple sports fandom. It builds loyalty. And that loyalty is what directly fuels this rockstar response. When I plays, the crowd isn't analyzing her unforced error count. Music, they are riding every emotion with her. When she missed a first serve against Baptiste, you could hear a collective groan ripple through the arena. Not disappointment exactly, but shared anxiety. When she crushed that cross-court forehand winner to break serve in the music first set, it wasn't just cheers. It was a release of tension. It was visceral. Local organizers weren't prepared for this. They are used to polite applause, scattered, music, comes, the occasional standing ovation. What they are not used to is this raw emotional connection between player and crowd in a first-round music match. They've never seen anything like it. The tennis itself. But let's cut through the hysteria for a moment and talk about the actual tennis. Music, because the match all had to play wasn't easy. Hailey Baptiste is a legitimate threat. Music, she's ranked 39th in the world, just one spot above. She's got weapons. She's got experience. On music, paper, this was a coin flip. The first set was a tense battle from the jump. Eala started slow. And honestly, who wouldn't under that weight of noise and expectation? She fell behind 1-2 early. A year ago, music, Eala might have crumbled under that pressure. She might have overreached, tried to be the hero too soon. But this is a different Alex. Music, this is the version that's been battle-tested on tour. She stayed patient. She constructed points. She used that lefty spin to drag Baptiste wide, opening up the court and clawed her way back to break for 3-2.
That break was a turning point. You could feel the momentum shift.
She held her nerve to close out the set 6-4. And that's when the crowd knew, music, okay, she came to compete. We also have to acknowledge her mental toughness here. Playing your best tennis, music, when hundreds of people are screaming your name every time you touch the towel is incredibly difficult.
It can be distracting. It can be overwhelming. But Eala channeled it.
She turned that energy into fuel instead of letting it become a burden. Baptist's music retirement in the second set at 0-1 down was unfortunate. We never want to see a player injured and we wish Hailey a speedy recovery. Music, but from an analytical standpoint, it tells us something about Eala's intensity.
She makes opponents work for every inch.
The physical toll of that first set, the relentless aggression, likely contributed to Baptist's breakdown.
Music, Eala doesn't give you free points. She grinds you down.
And when you combine that on-court pressure with the constant roar from the stands, it creates, music, a suffocating environment for any opponent. What does, music, era actually mean? We keep throwing around this word era. But what does it really mean? Is it, music, hype, or is it grounded in reality? The trajectory suggests it's very real.
Look at the numbers.
Eala just cracked the, music, top 40.
She's currently at a career-high ranking.
This time last year, she wasn't even in the top, music, 150. That's a meteoric rise in the world of professional tennis.
She's not a junior prospect anymore. Music, she's a legitimate tour-level threat.
The Eala era also represents a power shift in women's tennis toward Asia. For years, music, we had Lena blazing the trail from China.
We've got Naomi Osaka from Japan.
But Southeast Asia has been remarkably quiet when it comes to top-tier singles talent. IA is filling a massive cultural and geographical void. The WTA sees this, by the way. Music, they are desperately searching for a star who can unlock the Southeast Asian market. Music, they look at social media engagement metrics. Eala's posts get more interaction than some top, music, 5 players. Now they look at ticket sales at tournaments in places like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and potentially, music, upcoming Asian swings. For the sport, IA is a gold mine. She comes with a built-in fan base that's engaged, spends money, music, and travels. What happened in Dubai is proof of concept. It shows that if you put Eala on a show court, you're guaranteed, music, a spectacle. It validates every wild card she's been given, every sponsorship deal she's signed. But the Eala era is about more than Grand Slam titles, though those are certainly goals. Music, it's about her becoming the face of tennis for a region of 600 million people. The road ahead, Polini awaits. Now, let's talk about what's next because the story is about to get even juicier. Alexandra Eala has a date with Jasmine Polini, and this is the real litmus test. Music, Jasmine Polini isn't just good, she's elite, and she's a Grand Slam finalist. She's ranked 8th in the world. She's, music, fast, she's consistent, and she's played on the biggest stages in the world. This match will reveal exactly where Eala stands in the pecking order. But here's the twist. Polini knows what's coming. Music, at her press conference, she didn't sound like a favorite dismissing an underdog. She sounded, music, respectful. She sounded cautious. When a top 10 player says an opponent is really good for the sport, that's code for, I know the crowd will be against me. When Polini steps onto that court in Dubai, she's, music, going to feel like the villain. Not because of who she is. She's actually one of the most likable players on tour, but because she's standing in the way of the Filipino narrative. The atmosphere for this round of 32 match is going to be hostile and intense.
Why?
And this is Eala's massive opportunity. If she can hang with, music, Polini, or dare I say it, beat her in the midst of this frenzy, she catapults to a whole new level of credibility. A win here isn't just about rankings. It's a statement that she can take down the elite while carrying the weight of an entire nation on her shoulders. We also need to consider what tournament director Salah Tala, music, said, publicly acknowledging Eala's economic and atmospheric impact. When tournament organizers publicly recognize a player's draw, music, the way that player is treated changes. Eala is probably getting prime time, music, slots now.
She's probably getting center court billing.
The machine is starting to work for her because the machine recognizes she brings eyeballs and dollars. The psychology of the crowd. I'd be missing the heart of this story if I didn't spend a moment diving deeper into crowd psychology. There's a Filipino concept called Bayan Nihan. Music. It roughly translates to communal unity, cooperation, working together toward a shared goal. Music, it's the collective spirit of a village lifting a house together.
What we saw in Dubai tonight was Bayhan in a tennis stadium.
Those fans weren't just music buyers. They were a collective force.
Their mission was to lift Alex up.
When she was down in the first set, they didn't go quiet.
They got louder. They tried to carry her through. This is rare in individual sports.
Tennis is typically a lonely island.
You're out there by yourself. But Eala is never alone.
Wherever she goes, particularly in the Middle East, Europe, and North America, where there are significant Filipino diasporas, she brings a home court with her. This is a tactical advantage, by the way.
It rattles opponents. It subconsciously influences umpires.
It gives her an extra 5% of adrenaline when her legs are tired. The shock in the headline is really about the rest of the world waking up to just how powerful Filipino fandom can be. We've seen it in beauty pageants, in basketball, in boxing. Now, the tennis world is finally catching on, and honestly, they are still figuring out how to handle it. Security in Dubai reportedly asked fans to sit down and be quiet at one point.
But how do you stop a tidal wave? You can't. You just have to let it crash. The business angle.
Let's talk money for a quick second, because there's a serious business story buried in the Eala era hype. So tennis organizations, apparel sponsors, the tournaments themselves. Everyone's going to cash in on what's happening here. These images from Dubai are worth their weight in gold. Hailey Baptiste is a great player, but she doesn't sell out a stadium in Dubai on a Tuesday. Alex does. That means Eala is going to command appearance fees. It means her endorsement value is skyrocketing. It means networks are going to want to broadcast her matches, even the early rounds. She's becoming what we call a franchise player. In the NBA, there are franchise talents. You build a team around them. In tennis, you build your tournament marketing, around them. IA is becoming that player. The Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships is in its 26th year, and the women's draw hasn't had a marketing hook like this in ages. They are going to milk this surprise windfall for everything it's worth. Expect to see Eala's face on every billboard in Dubai for the rest of the week. And here's the thing, that financial power gives her longevity. Even if she hits a rough patch, her ability to sell tickets means she'll get wild cards. It guarantees her opportunities. Though based on her performance, top 40, beating Grand Slam champions, deep runs in tournaments, she doesn't need charity.
She's earned her spot.
The marketing appeal is just icing on a very talented cake. Final reflection on tonight. Before we wrap this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought about what tonight in Dubai represents. We, often get caught up in the grind of the tennis season. It's long. Players live out of suitcases, traveling city to city. Now, playing matches that often blur together. But every once in a while, there's a moment that cuts through the noise. A moment that makes us stop scrolling, pause what we're doing, and pay attention. What we saw in Dubai, the thousands of roaring fans, the rockstar reception for a 20-year-old, the bewilderment of the organizers, that was one of those moments.
It was a statement.
It was a declaration that fresh energy is revitalizing this sport, that the old guard is shifting. Alex Eala has done something remarkable tonight. She didn't just win a tennis match against Hailey Baptiste. She turned a tennis stadium into a temple of national pride. She showed the world that an Asian woman can be, the biggest draw on the card. She proved you can be ranked outside the top 30 and still be the most beloved person in the building. But let's not get confused.
The work isn't done.
The hype is fun.
The rockstar label is cool.
But the tennis gets harder from here. Jasmine Polini is waiting. And the 8th-ranked player in the world isn't going to be intimidated by loud fans. She's going to bring everything she's got. This next match is the real test of the Eala era. Will the hysteria translate into a dominant performance? Can Alex harness the crowd's energy into something she's never achieved before? Can she shock Dubai not just with her popularity, but with her play? I believe we're watching the start of something extraordinary. The shock we witnessed tonight will soon become the norm. The world will get used to the fact that when Alex Eala plays, the crowds go crazy, the arenas sell out, and the media, swarms. To all the fans who showed up in Dubai tonight, you set the bar. The WTA will be talking about the atmosphere you created for the rest of the year. And to Alex Eala, The stage is yours, the lights are bright, the music, noise is deafening, and the world is watching to see what you do next. This has been a deep dive into the shocking, music, electrifying, undeniable rise of Alexandra Eala in Dubai.
The hype is real. The music rock star has arrived.
And if you're a fan of sports, passion, or underdog stories becoming music superstar realities, you cannot look away.
Thanks for watching this analysis.
We'll be covering every angle of that upcoming showdown with Jasmine Polini, and we'll be right here to see if the shockwaves continue. Music.